YouTube. This is Miss Vindicat, and this is going to be a whispered exploration of the daily rituals of many famous people. Jane Austen, Sylvia Plath, Hemingway, Albert Einstein, and many others. I've always been intrigued by the daily routines of people, by schedules, by the way people live their lives basically, but especially the day-to-day sense of it. And I think it might have to do with the fact that I personally somehow can't keep up with any schedule that I come up with, even though I really want to. So I bought this book a while ago, and I thought it would be nice to take a look. So it is written by Mason Currey, a guy from Pennsylvania, and he is a journalist, I guess, or maybe not, I don't know. So this is Daily Rituals. How great minds make time, find inspiration, and get to work. And that maybe has to do with my fascination, because I want to find inspiration and I also want to get to work. And sometimes I enjoy the mundane things, but then again, it's like I crave a routine, but at the same time I crave freedom, and it can't be. So yeah, here to the left you see a daily routine. It's the routine of Benjamin Franklin, and he was an early riser, woke up at 5. Yeah, I am not. So, the book is written for Rebecca. Who can unravel the essence, the stamp of the artistic temperament? Who can grasp the deep instinctual fusion of discipline and dissipation on which it rests? Thomas Mann, Death in Venice. So, there are many people in this book, and we probably don't have time to go over all of them. But yeah, let's just take a look. I see Simone de Beauvoir, I see Jane Austen, many people in here. Karl Marx, Gertrude Stein, let me see, Haruki Murakami, yeah, Henry James, just many people in here. Mark Twain. So let's just get started and see what happens. So apparently the guy that wrote the book gets up at 5:30 every day, and yeah, not going to happen for me. So apparently this guy has the same fascination for routines as I have. So he was searching the internet for information about writers' working schedules, and he couldn't find them. Well, he could find them, and then he decided to put them all in a blog that he launched, Daily Routines, and that led to this book, basically, I think. So, routine in an intelligent man is a sign of ambition. W.H. Auden wrote. Yeah, and I think there might be some truth in that. And I also think that me wanting freedom doesn't actually lead to freedom. It leads to me not following a routine. And because of that, I'm not able to do a lot. And I'm not able to change a lot of things. Leading to me still having the same job for over 10 years. And it's a job that I like mostly. Or there is a lot to like. But it's kind of holding me back. I'm always in a hurry to get going, though in general I dislike starting the day. Well, I actually like to start the day, and especially to do it slowly. Yeah, that's also interesting. It says here that she took annual vacations, 2 or 3 months. That's pretty long. But then she would be bored and uncomfortable after the first few weeks. And for me, that sort of is the same. I like to not work, but then again, if I have nothing to do, I don't necessarily get happier. So it is sort of a struggle to find what will work best for me. Patricia Highsmith. Yeah, let's see. She would work for several hours in the morning. Her favorite technique to ease herself into the right frame of mind for work was to sit on her bed surrounded by cigarettes, ashtrays, matches, a mug of coffee, a donut, and accompanying saucer of sugar. She had to avoid any sense of discipline and make the act of writing as pleasurable as possible. Well, that is something that I do like, because if you feel that you have to do it, then I don't want to do it anymore. So you sort of should convince yourself that you want to do something, or you should just actually want to do something. Federico Fellini, the Italian filmmaker, gets up at 6 in the morning. Yeah, he opens windows. That's a nice thing to do. For years I've been trying to make myself a decent cup of coffee, but it's not one of my specialties. I like that. Fellini wrote for newspapers as a young man, but he found that his temperament was better suited to the movies. Alright. Mozart. Beethoven. Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher. And every day he would write and walk. Typically he wrote in the morning, set off on a long walk through Copenhagen at noon, and then returned to his writing for the rest of the day and into the evening. The walks were where he had his best ideas. Well, that is something that I'm a journalist and I write a lot. And sometimes when I have to write like a long piece, and I'm sort of stuck, or I'm in a hurry, or I don't really know anymore, the best thing I can do is to get up and start walking, leave everything behind. Don't take my notebook with me, just go outside, start walking, just be me with my thoughts. And then usually good ideas arrive, and in the end it will even be faster than if I would just stay put behind my desk. And it's sort of counterintuitive. In the beginning I would feel like, no, I can't go up and leave the building because I'm getting paid. Like working is sitting behind a desk and writing words. But it turned out that's not necessarily the case, or that's not most efficient. Anyhow, Voltaire, the French Enlightenment writer and philosopher, liked to work in bed. Nice. Benjamin Franklin, a scheme to achieve moral perfection. Wow. According to a 13-week plan, says, basically, I enjoy everything. I am never bored. Well, I'm not bored often, I must say. But I don't enjoy everything. That's not the same to me. Do you understand now why I am never bored? For over 50 years I have not stopped working for an instant. From 9 o'clock to noon, first sitting, I have lunch, blah blah. Well, I don't want to work that much. Gertrude Stein. Gets up every morning at about 10. I like that. Drink some coffee against her will. Why? She always been nervous about becoming nervous, and she thought coffee would make her nervous, but a doctor prescribed it. That's strange. Miss Douglas, her companion gets up at 6 and starts dusting and fuzzing around. Stein has an outside bathtub that was especially made for her. A staircase had to be taken out to install it. I like it when people do crazy stuff like that. Hemingway, he rose early, 5:30 or 6. Welcome by the first light of day. Well, that is something that I do like. I don't like to get up early. I'm not very good at it either. However, I do like to, the idea that you would just get up when it's getting light. That is something that I do like. F. Scott Fitzgerald demonstrated remarkable self-discipline. Wow. As a 21-year-old, he wrote a 120,000 word novel in only 3 months. William Faulkner wrote Best in the Morning. Alright. And Beatty works best at night. Good grass. Never, never at night. Haruki Murakami, I really liked his books. When he's writing a novel, Murakami wakes at 4 a.m. and works for 5 to 6 hours straight. Wow. Bedtime is 9. So then he has like 7 hours. I keep to this routine every day without variation, he told the Bears Review in 2004. The repetition itself becomes the important thing. It's a form of mesmerism. I mesmerize myself to reach a deeper state of mind. Wow. Murakami has said that maintaining this repetition for the time required to complete a novel takes more than mental discipline. Physical strength is as necessary as artistic sensitivity. Yeah, well, I read this book about running and he runs a lot. And then we've got Toni Morrison, who says, I'm not able to write regularly. I've never been able to do that, mostly because I've always had a 9-to-5 job. I had to write either in between those jobs hurriedly, those hours hurriedly, or spend a lot of weekend and pre-dawn time. Sorry, I'm a bit yawning, It's my little boy. He's keeping me up at night. Well, actually, he's been sleeping pretty well, but he wakes up usually between 6 or 7. And most nights he wants a feeding like once, which is way better than in the beginning, and there are even some nights that he just sleeps through the night. So I won't complain. But I am starting to become a morning person. I do like this book. I'm actually going to send it out because I am going to sell it, already sold it, as part of my paying off my student loan quest. Alright, Margaret Mead, the anthropologist. I read a lot of her stuff when I studied anthropology myself. She was always working, indeed. Not working seemed to agitate and unsettle her. Once during a 2-week symposium, Mead learned that a certain morning session had been postponed. She was furious. How dare they, she asked. Do they really realize what use I could have made of this time? Do they know I get up at 5 o'clock every morning to write 1,000 words before breakfast? Why did nobody have the politeness to tell me this meeting had been rescheduled? On other occasions, Mead would schedule breakfast dates with young colleagues at 5 a.m. Empty time stretches forever, she once said. I can't bear it. I can really bear empty time very well. Immanuel Kant. Kant's biography is unusually devoid of external events. The philosopher lived in an isolated Prussian province for his entire life, rarely venturing outside the walls of his native Königsberg and never travelling even so far as the sea, only a few hours away. Wow. His was a life of ordered regularity. William James. Recollect that only when habits of order are formed can we advance to really interesting fields of action and consequently accumulate grain on grain of willful choice like a very miser, never forgetting how one link dropped undoes an indefinite number. Wow. Henry James. It's the brother. Franz Kafka. James Joyce. A man of small virtue inclined to extravagance and alcoholism is how the Irish novelist once described himself. I like that. If a person is like, sort of witty about themselves. Marcel Proust. It is truly odious to subordinate the whole of one's life to the confection of a book, he wrote. Samuel Beckett. Picasso. Sartre. One can be very fertile without having to work too much, Sartre once said. 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening, that is my only rule. If that makes the French philosopher's life sound relaxed, however, it's misleading. Sartre lived in a creative frenzy for most of his life, alternating between his daily 6 hours of work and an intense social life filled with rich meals, heavy drinking, drugs, and tobacco. On a typical day, Sartre worked in his Paris apartment until noon, then went out for an hour of appointments scheduled by a secretary. At 1:30, he joined his companion Simone de Beauvoir, he paid chicks and their French for lunch, a 2-hour affair washed down with a quart of red wine. Page 6, did I miss that? Oh no, I didn't. My brain isn't what it was used to be. The sleep deprivation sort of messes with things. Agatha Christie. She admitted that even after she had written 10 books, she didn't really consider herself a bona fide author. When filing out of forms that asked for her occupation, it never occurred to her to put down anything other than married woman. Oh, that is just sad. The funny thing is that I have little memory of the books I wrote just after my marriage. I suppose I was enjoying myself so much in ordinary living that writing was a task which I performed in spells and bursts. I never had a definite place which was my room or where I retired, especially to write. Well, although I do think that is sad, I do like it that you love the ordinary living part. That is something that I want as well. I guess it has to do with mindfulness, waking up slowly, really feeling the water on your hand when you take a shower, making a very nice coffee and enjoying that. Sylvia Plath. Plath's journal records a near constant struggle to find and stick to a productive writing schedule. That sounds like me. From now on, see if this is possible. Set alarm for 7:30 and get up then. Tired or not, she wrote in one example. Rip through breakfast and house cleaning, bed and dishes, mopping or whatever by 8:30. Be writing before 9, that takes the curse of it. But the curse was never off it for long, despite Plath's frequent attempts to carve out a chunk of unavailable writing time each day. At the end of her life, she did find a routine that worked for her. Sedatives. Yeah, so she was struggling to find something that's the same for me. The greater part of Armstrong's adult life was spent on the road, Louis Armstrong, traveling from one gig to another, sleeping in a succession of anonymous hotel rooms. To manage the stress and boredom of this lifestyle, Armstrong evolved an elaborate pre- and post-show ritual described by Terry T. Jones in his 2009 biography. He took pains to arrive at any engagement 2 hours before starting time, already bathed and dressed so that he could hole up in his dressing room, dosing himself with the home remedies he always swore by, twigs of glycerin and honey to wash out the pipes. Kingsley Amis, do you have a daily routine? Yes, I don't get up very early. I like that. I linger over breakfast reading the papers, telling myself hypocritically that I've got to keep up with what's going on, but really staying off the dreadful time when I have to go to the typewriter. That's probably about 10:30, still in pyjamas and dressing gown. And the agreement I have with myself is that I can stop whenever I like and go and shave and so on. Maya Angelou was never able to write it home. I try to keep home very pretty, she has said, and I can't work in a pretty surrounding. It throws me. As a result, she has always worked in hotel or motel rooms. The more anonymous, the better. Wow. Truman Capote. I am a completely horizontal author, Capote told the Paris Review in 1957. I can't think unless I'm lying down, either in bed or stretched out on a couch and with a cigarette and coffee handy. I've got to be puffing and sipping. As the afternoon wears on, I shift from coffee to mint tea to sherry to martinis. H.L. Mencken. Mencken's routine was simple: work for 12 or 14 hours a day, every day, and in the late evening enjoy a drink and conversation. Wow. Philip Larkin. He's from that wonderful poem about your parents your mom and dads, they do not mean to, but they do. I shouldn't try to do this because I'm messing it up and it's too beautiful for that. I'll put it in the description box if I remember, so you can go down and check it there. It's basically about how you should not get a child. It's too late for that now. Alright. He says, I work all day and get half drunk at night. My life is as simple as I can make it. Work all day, cook, eat, wash up, telephone, heck, writing, drink, television in the evenings, heck, writing. I almost never go out. I suppose everyone tries to ignore the passing of time, some people by doing a lot. Being in California 1 year and Japan the next. Well, there's my way, making every day and every year exactly the same. Probably neither works. I think he must be very funny. Larkin worked as a librarian for almost his entire adult life, realizing early on that he would never be able to make a living from his writing alone. I was brought up to think that you had to have a job and write in your spare time like a trollopy, he said, although he admitted to wondering what would have happened had he been able to write full time. He also thought that 2 hours of composition in the evenings after dinner and the dishes was plenty. After that you're going around in circles and it's much better to leave it for 24 hours, by which time subconscious or whatever has solved the block and you're ready to go on. Joseph Heller, Catch 22. I've got that book and I want to read it, and it hasn't happened yet, but yeah. So he wrote that in the evenings after work, sitting at the kitchen table in his Manhattan apartment. I spent 2 or 3 hours a night on it for 8 years, he said. I gave up once and started watching television with my wife. Television drove me back to Catch 22. I couldn't imagine what Americans did at night when they weren't writing novels. Nikola Tesla. I've been to the Nikola Tesla Museum. It was really nice. Just a minute, guys. My son is actually waking up, so I should go check on him. I'll be back. So, there I am again. That actually only took me 2 minutes. I don't know, he woke up, but yeah. I just whispered a little bit to him. That calmed him down and he fell right back asleep. It was like, I don't know, do babies dream yet? Could he have had a nightmare? I don't know. Louise Bourgeois. My life has been regulated by insomnia, she told an interviewer. It's something that I have never been able to understand, but I accept it. Oh wow, that must be hard to accept. She learned to use these sleepless hours productively, propped up in bed with her drawing diary, listening to music or the hum of traffic on the streets. It sounds like she might have enjoyed ASMR as well. Yeah, she died in 2010. That was the year that I started making these videos. Well, William Styron, let's face it, writing is hell. Writing isn't hard work, it's a nightmare. Philip Roth. Coal mining is hard work. This is a nightmare. Edith Sitwell. Like to write in bed, beginning at 5:30 or 6 a.m. This being the only time when I can be sure of quiet. All women should have a day a week in bed, she remarked. to the study in the morning after a hearty breakfast and stay there until dinner at about 5. Since he skipped lunch and since his family would not venture near the study, they would blow a horn if they needed him, or he could usually work uninterruptedly for several hours. Vincent van Gogh. And not Vincent van Gogh, as many English-speaking people pronounce his name. Yeah, I guess Van Gogh is kind of strange, but well, that's what it is. Today again, from 7 o'clock in the morning till 6 in the evening, I worked without a stirring except to take some food a step or two away. He wrote, I have no thought of fatigue. I shall do another picture this very night, and I shall bring it off. This seems to have been typical for the artist. When in the grip of creative inspiration, Van Gogh painted non-stop in a dumb fury of work, barely pausing to eat. I do like it if you're in that flow. I can sometimes have that, especially when I would have like a new game like The Sims, or if I would start up a blog and be completely convinced that this blog was going to be everything. And I launched several blogs and I can never keep up with it. I don't have the routine. I like to start things, I like to plan things out, I like to come up with grand schemes and big ideas, and then somehow I can't finish it, can't continue. I like to get up when the dawn comes, says Georgia O'Keeffe. The dogs start talking to me, and I like to make a fire and maybe some tea and then sit in bed and watch the sun come up. The morning is the best time, there are no people around. I do like that, when there are no people around. Nabokov. His writing habits were famously peculiar. He composed his first drafts in pencil on ruled index cards, which he stored in long file boxes. Andy Warhol. Every weekday morning he spoke on the phone with his longtime friend and writing collaborator Pat Hackett, and related the events of the previous 24 hours. The people he'd seen, the money he'd spent, the gossip he'd heard, the parties he'd attended. Hackett took notes during the calls, which typically lasted 1 to 2 hours, and then typed up the accounts in diary form. John Updike. I would write ads for deodorants or labels for ketchup bottles if I had to. The miracle of turning inklings into thoughts, and thoughts into words, and words into metal and print, and ink never paused for me. Albert Einstein. His routine was simple. Breakfast between 9 and 10. Peruse the daily papers. Humble lifestyle. Alice Munro. In the 1950s, as a young mother taking care of 2 small children, Munro wrote in the slivers of time she could find in between housekeeping and child-rearing duties. Oh, that's actually hard. I'm trying to do that now with the ASMR videos, and boy, there's not a lot of time. She would often slip away to her bedroom to write in the afternoons while her eldest daughter was at school and the younger one was taking a nap. Munro has said that she was very big on naps in those years. friends know about it. I like it that it is like a separate part of my life. David Foster Wallace. I usually go in shifts of 3 or 4 hours with either naps or fairly diverting to something with other people things in the middle. Wallace said in 1996, shortly after the publication of Infinite Jest. So I'll get up at 7 or noon, work till 2 or 3, 11 or noon. In later interviews, however, Wallace said that he followed a regular writing routine only when the work was going badly. Things are either going well or they are not going well. I'm working on something now and I just can't seem to get it. I flunder and I flunder. And when I'm flundering I don't want to work, so I invent draconian. Alright, this morning I'll work from 7:30 to 8:45 with 1 5-minute break. All this baroque bullshit. At least PS, I think that's bullshit. That I could read this book completely, but then I should have read it before selling it. And the thing is, I'm already selling it because I hadn't read. There are so many things I want to do, and I have this feeling, I'm 37 years old. I do feel like it's kind of stupid to wait till later. I still have this feeling that I'm very young, which I guess is good. But I also realize that if I want stuff, I should start to make them happen. Because, this is it. This is the life. And if I can't find the time for something, then, that won't miraculously change. So I'm actually sort of thinking about my life and about what I want. And, somehow these routines really help me. Alright, if you're still listening, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and also please tell me your routine. Do you have a routine? Do you want to have a routine? Do you not even try? Do you have any tips? Please tell me. I would love to know. I'll put my own routine in the comments below. That is sort of my routine that doesn't exist, but that I would like, I guess. I don't know. Just let me know, because I'm intrigued by them. So that's it, guys.